Hey guys, I'm Basanta from Smart Tech Guide. Today I'm coming with one thing. It's called Real ID. What is it, and why it's important, why it's not important, or like that. It's only for US users, so US drivers or ID holder. So let's start on that. It's very small topic. Um, Based on the Real ID Act, Title 2, HR 1268 in 2005 legislation, um, in the wake of 911 terrorist attacks on 2001, Real ID Act implements improved security for driver's license and personal identification cards, and it established the minimum security standards mandatory for accessing all the federal facilities, entering the nuclear plants, and boarding federally regulated commercial flights. So far, there are a couple of states that haven't implemented the Real ID yet, but most of the state in the green already implemented, like Oregon and Oklahoma. They had extension and it's not completed yet. The enforcement date is not complete, not at current. And New Jersey, at the time I made this video, it was under review. I took this picture from the Department of Homeland Security, so you can go there, visit there, and see the status of the latest status of the every state's implementation. And it's actually drilled down. You can drill down to specific states for all the details. Why it's important? It is required to get access to certain things like federal buildings, nuclear plants, and flights, all those things. And the list is there in the slide over here. Restricted area for DHS, Department of Homeland Security headquarters. It implemented since 4/21/2014. Restricted area for federal facility and nuclear plant, it was implemented since 7/21/2014. And federal semi-restricted area for federal facility, and that there are 2 dates it was implemented. Federal security level 1 and 2 were implemented 1/19/2015, and security level 3, 4, and 5 were and military facilities were implemented 10/10/2015. Boarding the commercial flight, it's coming up. Some of the state, as I mentioned, already implemented Real ID. So in those states, it's already kind of mandatory. But passenger from other state that didn't implement Real ID yet, they can still travel to the state that has a real ID implementation. So the mandatory for every state's passenger will be coming 10/1/2020, October 1st, 2020. With that said, it's mandatory if you want to use driver license. It's not mandatory if you want to use passport. If you want to use passport, you can still drive with the old regular license, or you can still roam around with regular ID card. But to fly, you need passport. Even if you want to fly locally, domestic, you need passport or Real ID, either of one. So if you want to drive with driver license, in that case you need a Real ID anyway. If you don't need to fly with Real ID, then you may be good with the current ID. So that's the importance. You don't want to miss flight, by forgetting ID and passport both. So that kind of thing. If you want to know more information on the Real ID, just visit Department of Homeland Security site dhs.gov/real-id. And how to spot whether your ID is real ID or the regular ID. Several states implement that in different way. Couple of state has black circle, white star inside a black circle. Couple of state has white star inside golden circle, and couple of state has like California, it has white star under golden bear. And if you don't see any star on the top right corner of your driving license on the front side, then that's not real ID. Whether it mentions specific federal limits apply or not, but if it does not have a star, some form of star on the top right corner, then it's not real ID. In this picture, one of the California ID, it says federal limit apply, but some other state, the old ID may not say anything, but if it does not have a star, then that's not real ID. And real ID is machine readable, and it stores a lot of information about your history and everything. So are there any problem with that? Of course, there are some concerns raised from some people or some legislature, like privacy concerns. Obviously, everything has two sides, plus side and minus side. Government actually try to resolve certain kind of security threat using the more secure format of ID, so that it can track people's history, name changes, and everything is stored on the real ID in the government database. So and including the facial recognition. That may be concern for some people, and some of the state actually delayed that real ID implementation just because of that kind of movement from the local people and politicians. And other problem may arise you during the application is paperwork, because this is real ID, not like it's a regular driving license. It may require few more information than just regular ID. If you have name changes, you need all the history of name change and reason why it's changed, like marriage certificate. If it was marriage certificate. If it was your desire just to change by no other means, then you need solid proof and reason. And you need two solid address proof, residency proof, and those kind of things. In shortcut, some additional documents on top of regular ID or regular driving license. That's all for this topic. If you have any questions or any concerns, let me know. There are some frequently asked questions on the DHS site also. You can visit dhs.gov/real-id. Feel free to ask me any question if you need information. Like I said before, two states haven't implemented Real ID yet, that are Oklahoma and Oregon. And almost every other state has the Real ID implementation, and some of the state actually ask you whether you want to fly with this ID or not. If you want, then you just have to mention so that they will apply for Real ID. Like when I visited DMV in California, they asked me whether I want to apply for Real ID or just regular ID. That means they still have both options, but you may want to apply for real ID. You may not want to carry passport all the times when you fly locally. That's the purpose of making real ID. Thank you for watching my video. Please subscribe and share my channel and videos, like my Facebook page, and don't forget to click on the bell icon next to subscribe button to get notified of my future videos. If you haven't watched my previous videos, go ahead and watch. Feel free to comment if you like to know something or have feedback for me. Until next video, have a good time. Bye bye.